Let me just see. Hold on. On here. Yeah. Your wardrobe.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a very, very warm welcome to the Hofstede Symposium. We're here, of course, to celebrate today the work of Professor Geert Hofstede, our guest of honor.
I asked whether I could hold a naughty speech because most introductory speeches are just boring. And I said, yes, please hold a naughty speech. So this speech is about 7 deadly sins. I have thought of what are the deadly sins in dealing with culture in a multicultural society. And they can be done by politicians, by business people, by scientists, by consultants, anybody else, and anybody in this group. Of course, I don't need to explain this here, but these are the people who don't commit those sins.
I'm attending because I'm an e-team consultant in Italy, and I work with the Hofstede model in my country and in Europe.
For us, it's a good platform to market the secondary approach, where we think that change in organizations, besides the national culture part, is also about the organizational development.
We had a lot of failure in the past, and when I first hear Hofstede, and I'm quite a newcomer, we saw that this is the first entrance to explain, for example, managers how to prevent the most mistakes.
For me, the most important part is to see we are trainers and consultants outside. We are trying to see whether the business community and the researchers, whether they are also on the same, because we are married to Hofstede, one can say that.
To get energy again. I mean, I'm teaching intercultural communication, and this is to get the spirits high again.
Hear the views of a lot of people and hear their approach to culture.
Survive without having the ability to be able to understand the different cultures, because whether you like it or not, they affect you.
The topic is so very, very interesting.
It's always nice to get inspired and motivated by looking at what other people think about Hofstede. And I am enjoying this very, very much.
If I ask, gentlemen, where do you get your best ideas? What is the obvious answer?
Cycling.
Cycling, yes. In bed, okay, well that's a woman answering that question. So, where do you get your best discussions?
Bars.
In bars and at kitchen tables, right? Okay, good. That's why we have a kitchen table here. Sugar and milk is lying around somewhere. You've got both. Consultants are always very greedy.
Extremely valuable is that they use nationally representative samples because they're rich. This is coordinated by the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, an international project but with a lot of American money and international money, so they can afford what nobody else can afford.
Loud voices, silent voices, yeah. And you do not have to personalize it. I see you are quiet, you don't have to do it.
You could predict where is a winning team and a high performance team and where isn't.
But the workshops have generated a lot of discussion, a lot of interaction, but I'm going to ask you to stop. In your registration, you were asked if you had a topic, a question, a statement that you would like to throw into the group today.
A precondition for interculturally competent graduates is interculturally competent faculty educating them.
I'd very much appreciate the chance to speak with others of you who are learning how to meet virtually and at the same time respect and honor cultural differences in a meeting.
How can we use Hofstede's dimensions to show cultural and sensitivity and diversity in interactive storytelling?
correlating variables. Normally you use unweighted averages, for example country means, and I was wondering if it's also possible to use weighted averages.
How can we transfer the knowledge into their behavior?
I remember this Hofstede thing.
Oh, I had a very, very great workshop, and I sit there and says, okay, this mistake you made, okay, and now you know why your coachee has been kicked out of a Swedish company.
Learn a bit more about how to apply the Hofstede theory in our day-to-day work.
Cultural differences, even in such a small company, bring challenges every day.
How other people adapt and work with this model, maybe mostly.
And all the questions around this model that is not understood or misunderstood.
I have first very much enjoyed my father's lecture on the 7 deadly sins. I mean, this was instructive and it was new to me.
So to learn and to network as well.
One of you takes away this blinking cup and it says, best debater, ladies and gentlemen. And imagine how it is to walk inside your office tomorrow morning with this blinking cup. The first motion is, the most important factor in innovation is educating people internationally. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what you think, what you hate. And ladies and gentlemen, dear judges, what do you think? As high as possible so we can see it. Higher, everybody.
If you want to do something even nationally, you have to think globally.
What Mr. Oliveira says sounds very promising and of course convincing, but ladies and gentlemen, I need to warn you, because it is a religion. It's a false religion and it's very expensive.
Yeah. That's great. And if you're against it, just say, shame. All right. Robert. 3, 2, 1.
Shame. Now, where are our markets? They're not just in front of our doorstep. Our markets are all over the world.
To be very successful internationally is firstly to recognize your own culture and therefore recognize the others.
Forget the market, first become your own culture, your identity. You think too much in one sense. This is completely nonsense.
Well, I was going to say there's a lot of Italian passion, but there has to be some logic in there as well. No, I mean really, no.
It's proven that children, when they learn a language and they learn it properly, they can build a house and they can learn another language. It's the same as with innovation and going international. First, you have to learn your own country, your own culture, then you can build.
How are we going to innovate education? By opening borders.
If you are pro, ladies and gentlemen, you straight walk to the other side. You're against. Against is the judges, and the judges enter the debate, ladies and gentlemen.
We would like to offer the banana as a symbol of cultural awareness to the student body of the master program of this university.
Our biggest reactions came to the gentleman here who finished with the red team, and so we want to present that to you.
Erik Kostelijk, ladies and gentlemen. All right, the man of the green team, ladies and gentlemen, there he is. Fernando Lanza, ladies and gentlemen. The best debater, give him a big round of applause again.
Mr. Hofstede published his books, but Mr. Hofstede is a research-orientated person and is not willing to apply to dirty practice.
Yeah, in fact, one of the reasons also was to meet the guru today. So, yeah, we saw him live.
Because we are married to Hofstede.
I rank him up there with Freud and other geniuses of the social sciences, if you will. And his model is at the same time so complex and so simple to use, which makes it very valuable in any part of the world.
It was the first one with this very difficult task in bringing all European and great culture in the world into a model. Anthropological study was only related to very, very small primitive culture in the top of the mountain in Africa or in a little island in the Pacific Ocean. This is very special about Hofstede.
I'd like you to give a very warm welcome to our guest of honour this afternoon, Professor Geert Hofstede and his wife, our guest speaker, Mr. Max van den Berg.
Hofstede provides a scientific basis on which to approach cultural differences. This is something more necessary than ever in our rapidly changing world. I would like to record my practical experience. To answer the question, how can we use diversity and cultural differences constructively as the building blocks of an innovative society, which for the sake of simplicity I shall term Society 3.0.
I just want to say that I'm extremely grateful for many things, but also for the fact that we had a speaker here who actually belonged to those for whom my message was precisely intended, and who listened them, who used them, who discovered in the practice of his life the importance of those things.
For your merits for society and science heeft het Hare Majesteit behaagd. Her Majesty has decided u te benoemen, to appoint you, tot ridder in de orde van de Nederlandse Leeuw. En het zou mij een groot voorrecht zijn om de onderscheiding nu te mogen opspelden.